What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Closing the Deal. I am one of your hosts, Zach Dixon, and today we will be doing part 3 of our How to Buy a Home series. And today we will be discussing the house hunt itself. So if you guys have not checked out the first 2 episodes of the series, the first episode was Surround Yourself with the Right Team, and then the second episode was another solo episode from my co-host Sam, and that was dealing with the pre-approval process. And like I mentioned today's episode is going to be about the house hunt itself, how that happens, what happens throughout the house hunt, and how you're able to, start looking for that dream property itself. This step is obviously crucial for you as a home buyer because this is going to get you started on your house journey, the specific house that you're looking for specific. The first step of the house hunt is always going to be defining your home criteria. So me as a real estate agent, I'm going to set you up as a buyer with automatic notifications on the MLS, which is the multiple listing service. The multiple listing service is where all properties that are listed with a real estate agent are shown privately for other real estate agents to see, and all details about the property are all listed on the MLS. That includes, price, square footage, how many bedrooms and bathrooms. It is very similar to Zillow, but it is a little bit better of a tool because it does update real time. So if a property goes into contract at 12:01 on a Thursday, by 12:02 p.m. on that same Thursday, you're going to be able to see that property has went into contract and is no longer available. So when I have a new buyer client, my first step is always going to be to ask them what their criteria is. Are they looking for a specific number of bedrooms? Are they looking for a specific square footage number? Do they need a garage? Are school districts very important to them? These are all questions that we're going to ask you as the buyer as the process gets started to make sure that we're looking for properties that fill your buy box. Once we get all that information, we're going to get that search set up on the MLS, and you as the buyer are going to get emails every single morning with new listings that fit your buy box. So when you get those emails each morning, you can check those out on your own time. And if you see something that you like, all you have to do is send that over to me and we will get a showing scheduled from there. There are some other considerations that you definitely want to think about when putting together your home criteria. Obviously, needs versus wants is a big one when we discuss with buyers what they're looking for. Obviously, needs are going to be things that you absolutely cannot buy the home without. So if you have a family and you need, 3 bedrooms, we're not going to be looking for properties with 2 bedrooms or only, maybe 1 bath. We're going to make sure that every single property that you see has that need checked off first and foremost. After that, obviously, you go to wants. If all of the need boxes are checked off, then at that point, it's going to be, what you want in your property. Do you want a garage so you don't have to shovel snow off of your car in the morning time? Or do you want a basement so that you can finish that and have a extra hangout space? Those are all examples of wants in the property. And so once the needs are taken care of and we see that the property has the needs that you want, at that point, the wants are an added positive for sure. Another aspect of defining your home criteria is going to be location, location, location. I've already talked about it a little bit with school districts specifically, but when you're buying your property, you have to realize that you cannot move where it is. You can always absolutely rehab the property, do updates, renovations to the property, but you can never move a property from one point to another. So you always want to make sure that the location that you're buying is the one that you want to be in. Because again, you can fix a property that is a little bit outdated, but you cannot move a nice property from one location to another. Another aspect of the home criteria search is going to be your budget considerations. This is going to be done obviously during the pre-approval process. You're going to discuss with your lender what makes the most sense for you financially and go from there. your real estate agent and your lender is going to have a conversation in regards to your budget and make sure that you're not seeing properties show up on your MLS search that you cannot afford. There really is nothing worse than falling in love with a property and then you realize that you cannot afford it. The last aspect of defining your home criteria that I would consider very important is determining the property type that you're looking for. Are you looking for a single family home that is detached from other homes? Or are you looking for a condo that is similar to apartment style living with amenities included, such as, lawn care, snow removal, and even maybe trash or water and sewer? There's other options as well. You can obviously buy a duplex or a 4-unit, a multi-family property and live in one unit and rent out the other units. These are all things that are really just determined by you as the buyer and that make most sense for your situation specifically. So once we get your home criteria defined and we get that MLS search set up, that is going to be the absolute first step in the process. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to get listings sent to your email every single morning that fill your criteria specifically. If you see one of those properties that you want to go visit in person and take a look at, all you have to do, again, like I mentioned earlier, is send me a text or give me a call, and I will be able to get that scheduled around your availability at any point that you want. In addition to the MLS search, your real estate agent is going to be taking a look at the market every single day to make sure that if there are any listings that they feel like would fit your buy box specifically, they're going to send those to you directly so they make sure that you see them every single day. So now we found a property that fits our buy box. All the pictures look beautiful and we're ready to go see it. Once we get that showing scheduled, you will be able to determine how long you want this showing scheduled for, what day and time you want it for, and from there we'll be able to get out to see the property. I always encourage clients, especially buyers and especially first-time home buyers, to make sure they see as many properties as you possibly can. Even if the property that you see come across your email isn't maybe one that you all the way expect that you would offer on or that you love when you walk through it, I highly, highly, highly recommend walking through it so you just get that experience of being in a property and seeing all of the aspects within the property itself. Walkthroughs are very, very educational, and you can definitely learn a lot about properties as a whole by just walking through and seeing different things. I always recommend to see as many properties as possible versus seeing one property, falling in love, and making an offer. Now, that obviously can be feasible if that I always also tell clients that if you have a feeling when you walk out of the property in your stomach, you should definitely think about it a little bit further, think about it a little bit harder, and maybe potentially make an offer. But when you do find a property that you're ready to offer on, you will definitely have some sort of feeling in your stomach, a good feeling ready to go. Another thing that I want to add with the home search online is sometimes pictures can be very, very deceiving. I would highly, highly recommend not falling in love with any sort of property just based on the pictures. These pictures are done professionally on purpose to be appealing to you as a home buyer so that you get your foot in the door and you go to see that and you schedule a showing. If they can get people in the door, seeing their property, the chances of them getting an offer that is acceptable to the seller is greatly, greatly higher than if they did not have, professional pictures that do not look good. You definitely want to make sure that the functionality of the property as a whole is going to fit your buy boxes. Again, if the kitchen is not functionable, that is a thing that can be a very large deterrent from buying the property as a whole. So now we're going to move into what happens when we actually go and visit the home, when we walk through. So we're walking through the property. What we want to make sure is we are looking for red flags or cosmetic fixes as a whole. So if we see a large crack in the foundation, we're going to make sure that we do our due diligence on that issue prior to making any offer. Our due diligence would include taking a look at the residential property disclosure form and making sure that there are no issues that the current seller has dealt with in their ownership. This would include something like a cracked seeping foundation or water in the basement. These are all issues that can be seen on the residential property disclosure prior to you making an offer. You want to take a look at all of the cosmetics as well, obviously. We're also going to be taking a look at all of the key elements of the property, some of the large ticket items. We're gonna definitely turn on the heat on the property. We're definitely going to turn on the air conditioning of the property to make sure that those items are working correctly. Those are big ticket items that once you buy your property, you do not want to be replacing those, within 6 to 12 months of just buying your property. Those items can definitely add up, and especially if you have to buy more than one of them. A new hot water tank could be anywhere from between $1,500 to $3,000. A new HVAC system could be anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000. A new roof could be around $10,000 as well, and that is just 3 items, and we are now close to $30,000. If you are handing out a large chunk of change for your down payment, you want to make sure that these items are working correctly prior to making an offer. Now, obviously, when you do make an offer and it is accepted, these items are going to be tested by your licensed inspector when we have inspections done. Now, this is going to be something that we touch on in the next How to Buy a Home series episode, which would be making an offer itself. But again, we want to make sure that we are checking out these items just a little bit prior to making the offer itself. You want to obviously be checking for signs of preventative maintenance. You want to make sure that the furnace filter looks relatively new. That is something that you want to be changing every 3 months or every 90 days. And again, if you have a couple of filters laying in the utility room, that is always a good sign that they have been diligent with making sure that these are updated. Again, if we see any water stains on the ceiling, that would tell us that we likely have a roof leak, and there is a little bit of water intrusion coming in from that roof leak and getting into the interior of the home. So again, these are all items that we are going to be checking out when we do the walkthrough, when we are taking a look at the residential property disclosure, so we can make informed decisions when we move on to the next step of the process, which is making an offer. I always highly recommend taking a lot of pictures when doing a walkthrough or making a video when you do a walkthrough. Again, when you schedule these walkthroughs, it is likely going to be 15 to 45 minutes long, and there's a lot to see in that time period. So again, if you want to be able to see those things up close and personal rather than just in the pictures that are included on the listing, you should definitely be taking videos and pictures of these items for your reference later on when you're deciding if you want to make that offer on that property. Moving on, you definitely want to make sure that as a home buyer, we are paying attention to the market conditions and staying competitive when we are on our home search. We always want to make sure what the current market is doing. If the current market is a seller's market, which benefits the seller itself, we want to make sure that we are moving in that aspect. So what does that mean? In a seller's market, properties are going to go very fast. Usually properties are going to get multiple offers, and sometimes they're even going to come over asking price. And so in that aspect, if we are in our home search in a seller's market, we want to make sure that if you see a property that you like, we are getting out there immediately to see the property and, immediately making an offer if needed. I've seen too many times over the last 5 or 6 years, a buyer see a property that they like, they want to sit on it for, maybe even a night or just a little bit, maybe a couple of hours. And unfortunately, when they finally do make that decision, the property is already in contract because another buyer has made an acceptable offer to the seller. So again, in the seller's market, we want to make sure that we're acting a little bit quicker to secure a property that if you do like it, we want to be making sure that we're moving on it quickly. On the flip side, in a buyer's market, the negotiation power is held by the buyer himself or herself. So in that aspect, if we see a property that we like, we may have a little bit more negotiation power to offer a little bit under asking price or ask for a little bit of concessions. That also would allow us a little bit more time to see the property as well, because we know that other buyers are not knocking down the door to try and make an offer on this property or to even see it as a whole. So again, just want to make sure that you know your current market while you're making that house hunt. And that is obviously something that's going to be very much what your real estate agent is involved with, making sure that you're informed when you go to see properties or when you get to see them come across your email in those MLS listings. You want to make sure that you're understanding days on market, price reductions and seller motivation as a whole. If we see a property that has been on the market for 120 days already and has had multiple price reductions throughout that time, before we go see it, we can kind of construct a plan, what it would look like if we do like this property and how we can act on it in that aspect. If we've had multiple price reductions and a long time on market, we have a little bit more negotiation power as the buyer, and we can make sure that we are constructing our offer, based on those items as well. The last thing I'll be touching on today is just strategies for staying flexible as a whole. Again, in the last 5 to 6 years here in Central Ohio, we have been very much in a seller's market. It has been benefiting the sellers very much so. Usually when properties have gone on the market, they have gone off the market just as quick with multiple offers in hand and usually over asking price. So again, this doesn't make for a very, very easy process for a buyer, but you want to be making sure that you're staying as flexible as you can, especially in a seller's market. If you see a property that morning, you want to make sure that maybe you go see it that day, even if you have a little bit more busy of a schedule, instead of pushing it off a day or two, because it may not be available at that point. So again, just stay flexible, stay up to date on your market, and make sure that your real estate agent is staying in touch with you about all of the happenings that is going on inside your market. Because again, it can change, week to week, month to month, and especially year to year. If you are in a, home search that has extended out a little bit longer than a normal one. So that will wrap up our part 3 episode of How to Buy a Home today. Again, super excited for you guys to check out the series as a whole. Again, we did a full hour and 20-minute episode on the How to Buy a Home series as a whole. That was kind of a 10,000-foot overview of what the process looks like as a whole, and obviously have been doing specific episodes on the process and each step of the process as a whole as well. So again, this was part 3, the house hunt, and next we will be doing another solo episode based on making an offer on a property that we have seen and now are ready to offer on. So again, guys, we really appreciate the love and support that we've had on the channel. Again, if you guys could feel free to subscribe, give us a like and a follow. We would really appreciate you guys tuning in and all of the feedback and questions and anything along those lines as well. So again, next episode will be our episode 4, making an offer, and we are super excited to bring that to you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in today, and we will see you guys in the next one.